I get quite emotional about what I do, because military artefacts are tangible reminders of sometimes heroic struggles. And one such World War II relic has just surfaced in Waterlooville in Hampshire, which is where I'm heading now.
I'm all excited. I've been here for years.
Dave Hucklebridge has been collecting militaria for the best part of 50 years. And like me, he's got an eye for the unusual.
All right, Dave?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Hey,
This is Freddie, right? Oh, lovely, Dave.
It's rammed, isn't it?
Yeah. Are they all ammo boxes?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to leave, mate. I'll only come down here to spend a couple of quid.
Although I'm here for something very specific, there's always a couple of surprises in Dave's quirky collection.
What is that?
That is a mule, the saddle.
German, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
German vehicles were often brilliantly designed, but their factories failed to produce enough. So the German army relied on over 1 million horses and mules to transport men, guns, ammunition, food and other supplies to the front line. This saddle was designed to transport an 11-kilogram MG42 machine gun.
That actually fits on the top here, and then you could carry the box of ammunition on the
On the
side.
sides there.
Nice. I mean, don't get me wrong. For me, though, no. Honestly, it's not my cup of tea.
It's a fascinating piece, but I'm not betting on the GGs right now. And I'm a bit distracted because I've spotted the main reason I'm here. When you see it, you might think old Brucey's lost the plot, but let me assure you, this is special.
Is this the glider rib piece you told me about?
Yeah.
This is from a horse glider?
The rib of the fuselage.
Right.
Like if you go down, like if you imagine the fuselage as a tube.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ribs that would go all the way around the fuselage.
Right.
After the First World War, the Versailles Treaty stopped the Germans building military planes. They got round it by building gliders. In 1940, just 85 German paratroopers in gliders took the Belgian fortress of Eben-im-Al. The British were so impressed, they started building their own gliders called horses. They were cheap, effective, but very dangerous. Lifted into the sky by a tug plane, the glider then made a slow, terrifying descent.
How many people were in these things?
The Horser could be fitted with 32 seats, but I only ever really put 28 in because that's how many blokes was in an airborne platoon. Once they got on these things, it was definitely a one-way journey.
Lots of them didn't actually make their destination, did they?
How scary must it have been to fly and crash land in one of these? It was a one-way ticket into enemy territory, with no landing strip and no way of evading enemy fire. Once on the ground, a glider pilot wasn't going home, so he became part of the infantry. In one battle alone, the Battle of Arnhem, more than 200 of them were killed.
This is actually from the battlefield, yeah?
This is the section of a glider that was going to Arnhem. It was shot down and crashed. The crew were killed in it.
Right. I don't want to haggle about things like this because it's a little bit more than having a deal on something.
Absolutely.
You know, so it's something that'll be close to my heart.
I think the fair and the good price would be that £700.
£700. Job done, mate. Thank you very much.
No money to be made on this relic, but I don't mind. It's more important it survives as a reminder of the brave men who perished in horses. I'll tell you, going to war in a glider would have had me reaching for something else I've spotted on Dave's shelves.
What's that, Edelweiss?
It's a toilet roll.
It's got a swastika on it. Do you know what? Listen, I've never in all my years seen that. Is that original? That ain't like reproduction toilet
No,
paper?
it's reproduction, Bruce. 100%.
Wehrmacht. You wouldn't think they'd survived through the war. It probably all got used, I suppose, didn't it, you know?
But definitely.
Certainly towards the
But
end.
listen, Edelweiss, though, I mean, first of all, it ain't very manly, innit? You know, you're stuck in a tank, eating sauerkraut and sausage, people shooting at you, and it's called Edelweiss. You'd think it was called Who's Dropped One? That's tickled me pink. Have you got any pink?
No.
How much that worth? I've driven a long way today.
But £30.
£30
£30.
for the two.
No, for the one.
I find that amusing, historically very interesting, most expensive toilet roll I've ever bought in my life.
Third right bog roll, I'm reminded of Chamberlain. I have in my hand a piece of paper. The Nazi wrapper says it's chemically pure, but I'd have to be caught very short to put that to the test.
That has made my day.
Sue has got us on the first flight to Guernsey, the second largest of all the Channel Islands. The island is just 50 kilometres off the French coast, but it's been part of the British Isles since 1066, apart from a brief spell under A. Hitler. It's all very nostalgic coming back here, because this is the place that I came in 1970 as a kid that really got my interest in military history going. This place oozes history, believe me. Germany conquered the Channel Islands in 1940 without a fight. Churchill knew it was strategically impossible to defend them. For 5 years, almost the entire war, the islanders lived under Nazi rule until their emancipation on the 9th of May 1945. You can imagine what life was like here at that time.
That's like a snapshot of what life could have been like under the jackboot if they'd have taken England.
Well, and they very, very nearly did, believe me, you know. Hitler was sure that Britain would try to recapture the islands, so he had them heavily fortified. You could still see bunkers everywhere. And out of sight, underground, the Nazis dug an amazing tunnel complex, which I'm eager to check out. So, if you look straight in front of you there is one of the defensive towers. That's what I'm here to look at. I'm seeing the tower tomorrow morning, so our first port of call is our B&B.
Hello.
Hello, Christine.
Yes.
Hello,
Sue.
Christine. I'm Sue, yes.
Hi, Christine, I'm Bruce. Pleased to meet you.
Hello.
I'm Freddie.
Freddie,
Hiya.
grab our bags, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sue is normally the one that picks the hotels, but I've booked Christine's place because I've heard her and her son have a little private hoard of historical goodies. So while Sue unpacks, Freddie and I are going to have a rummage in her garage.
Have you got bits and pieces here from the occupation, you reckon?
Probably.
Who needs a hotel pool when you've got a shed full of war relics?
Can we have a look through? Is it all
Yeah,
right?
have a good mooch.
This is exactly how I first started finding stuff when I was first here in 1970. There was all kinds of stuff just sitting around in an outbuilding outside, so... There you are, look at that. Look at the outline of the aircraft. That's
A big airfix box or something.
No, that's for aircraft recognition training.
Plane spotters, unlike train spotters, played a vital role in the war. Identifying a plane from its silhouette was the only way to prevent a trigger-happy battery gunning down one of its own. So kids' toy makers spent the war producing scale models of warplanes. Not for fun, but to help train the military.
Lysander, look, Hudson, Whitley, Wellington, Hampden. Look at that, that's interesting. That's very nice.
This German set would have been filled with scale models of Allied aircraft to help German gunners identify enemy planes.
There'd have been 2 layers in this, so they obviously had these ones in the bottom, and there's clamps to hold them, look. See the clamps? So that's all been... It's interesting.
But unfortunately, without its original models, not very saleable. No bother, as Christine's son Ollie's here, and I've heard his stuff is rare and unique to the island.
We're the strangers looking in your shed. Morning. How you doing? I'm Bruce. Pleased to meet you.
Yeah.
This is Freddie.
Hi, nice to
Freddie.
meet you.
Okay.
But your mum said you might have some bits that we might be interested
yeah, I
in.
mean, I
bits.
brought some bits down for you to have a look at.
Oh, helmets
wasn't
as
sure
well.
what
Yeah,
you were-
yeah, yeah.
Well, these are interesting. The slave workers made these to swap for food with the locals. I mean, there's that big one, and then there's 2 little ones.
To build their fortifications and dig their tunnels, the Germans shipped 6,000 slave labourers onto the islands. Slavs and Jews from Poland and Russia were imprisoned in the only concentration camp ever built on British soil. The Nazis called them Untermenschen, or racial inferiors. They were considered beneath contempt, and many were simply starved or worked to death. Right here on a British isle, slaves had to barter with SS guards to get food and drink. Since they had no money, the prisoners made beautiful little artefacts like these, using what materials they could find.
You've got to think how talented some of these people are,
Yeah.
and then they've been dragged away from their homes and put to work on building bunkers.
So this is the same as making a ship in a bottle, yeah?
Then they would have slid them through the neck and then pulled them into place with cotton, and then the water went in there, and then they swelled and stayed in position.
They're incredible, mate. I mean, would these people sell, or one of them, or possibly?
I don't really want to sell the big one because I've always maybe wanted to let that go in a museum eventually, but
Right.
I may let one of the smaller ones go.
I'd be interested in one of these, yeah?
It's going to have to be about 150 quid, Bruce, because again, with the history behind it,
No, this whole thing about prisoners of war and people that were in that position, I find very interesting. Heart-rending as well. So, for £150 for that, I've got to be honest with you, yeah, I wouldn't even argue. Yeah, I love that, £150.
brilliant.
That small bottle is, to me, such a moving piece of history. A little human reminder of the inhumanity of the Nazis.
So, listen, we've got something, we've only been here an hour. So what else we got in there?
Right, there's something that's a little bit different, but it's very interesting. It was, these little badges were made during the occupation as a form of resistance. You've got the V for victory and the King's head on there.
Well, I'll be.
Well, they just carved them out of a bit of metal or something.
They got a coin. They fretted them out of a coin, and then they sweated the V on the bottom of them. And what they'd done, they wore them under their lapels. When they seen one another in the high street or passing, they would flash them and then flash them
So
back.
it's a little bit of resistance, but you've got to be careful, yeah?
Yeah.
The V sign was used as a symbol of resistance across occupied Europe, as a piece of graffiti or as a morale-boosting gesture. Used one way, it stood for victory or freedom, and the other way, the Brits used it as a defiant insult to the Germans.
It's basically sticking two fingers up at the regime, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Because I have a love for this island, I'd love to own one of these. How much would you let me have that for?
If you're keeping it for yourself, not resale, you can have it for 50 quid.
Oh, lovely. Done that, thank you. Listen, I've got to be honest, if I go home with just that, I'll be a happy man.
I'm not out to make money on this. It's a symbol of human spirit, decency and bravery. So to me, it's priceless.
Right, what else we got in there?
These books were printed here during the war for the Germans.
Okay.
I mean, had all the islands in them.
So it's a sort of book to familiarise the
so they
occupying troops.
know a little bit about the history of the island and a bit about the
Look at
culture.
that policeman there, look.
Yeah. I mean,
Look,
the
Bobby. Yeah, I'm interested in that. How much would that be?
100 quid, Bruce.
100 quid. I ain't even going to argue with it. I find that really interesting because it's the sort of thing that they probably got issued with, read, and then sent home to show that they weren't on the Eastern Front or something like that. And it's in really good condition, very good condition. No, that's nice. Yeah, thanks for that. Great.
Nice little bit.
Lovely. That book's so detailed it would work as a guide nowadays, as long as you speak German.
No, lovely. I'm chuffed with that. Right, what else you got in there, Al? It's a Kriegsmarine helmet, yeah?
It's got a nice net on it.
The Kriegsmarine were the German Navy, and you can tell this is their helmet from the special eagle on the side.
That's nice. Have a look.
I guess people do assume that if you're in the Navy, you're at sea on a ship.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
they were actually responsible for
Most
the
of the
defences
batteries, yeah.
along all the coast.
So, I mean, what sort of money would that be?
It's got to have to be 1,000 quid, Bruce.
I mean, because of the history behind it, I'd give you 800 quid. 800 quid now.
Done deal, mate.
Lovely.
Okay.
Kriegsmarine helmets are always in demand and easy to shift, as long as the price is right.
Great start of the trip, Ollie. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Freddie,
Yeah, nice to meet you, Freddie.
See you later.
catch you later on. Cheers, Ollie. Tom, mate. Yeah, Sue, look, there it is. That's the Martello
Oh,
Tower.
I see it, yes.
It's virtually on its own little island.
I'm in the Channel Islands with Sue and Freddie to buy a Martello Tower, which is an ancient lookout tower adapted by the Germans during the Nazi occupation. Not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, to actually own one would be a dream.
Oh, there he is. His name's Ross. Pull up here.
Ross is the estate agent who will show us around.
Ross, good morning.
Good morning, hello.
This is it. Looks lovely, doesn't it, eh? It's Fort Samurai. That's how you pronounce it,
That's
yeah?
correct, yes.
Did you bring a brochure for
I
me?
certainly did, yeah, here we are. There we
Yeah,
are.
Freddie. Oh, you can have a look.
Yeah, by all means.
You can pick the bunker you'd like to stay in.
5 million? That's a bit much for a bunker, Bruce.
There's the rub. The tower is in the grounds of a luxury villa with tennis courts and all the fixings. I just want the tower, But I think I've made a tactical error bringing Sue along because she's now eyeing up the accommodation.
I hope we will be able to see the house as well.
We'll see. We can have a look.
I have to see this. I'm just looking at the footprint of it, Bruce. Look at that.
Yeah.
OK, we'll lead on then, if we can then, Ross. That'd be great.
Let's head over this way.
Oh, Bruce, look at this. I think this is what you're looking for.
Very much so. So that's the original sort of Martello tower, the bottom half, yeah?
Yeah, that was definitely the concept.
The lower part of the tower is more than 200 years old, built by the British to guard against French invasion. The smooth concrete top half was added by the Germans during the war to guard against the British. But all these fortifications were never put to the test. Churchill didn't believe the islands were strategically important and they remained under Nazi rule for the entire war. It means this tower is in perfect condition. Anywhere else in Europe and it would be riddled with bullet holes.
You going to get up there?
I think I'm going to pass on this one, guys, and check out the views.
All right, you go and have a look at the views.
Have fun.
OK, all right. Up you go, Freddie.
Sue might want to nosy around the house and gardens, but if she wanted a room with a view, she should have climbed up here.
Oh, blimey, this is the real thing, mate. That's fantastic. Look at the views here.
Is that another tower over there on that outcrop?
Yes. Yeah, there's a whole network right the way along the coastline.
So you've got to imagine these things were manned 24 hours a day. So there was somebody in this room just scanning the horizon. If they saw something, they would send the information back to the famous Mirus batteries you've got up on the hills there.
To defend the islands, they had 4 huge Mirus guns, which the Germans pinched from a World War I Imperial Russian warship. A Mirus gun could take out a ship 30 kilometres away, but for targeting, it relied on the lookouts in the towers. The guns were vulnerable to air attack, so those cunning Germans disguised them as holiday cottages to hide them from the Allied bombers.
You can see why the original Martello Tower was here, can't you?
Quite right.
They've got fantastic field of vision here.
This tower will be of historic interest 1,000 years from now. Now that's what I call a solid investment. Castle Crompton.
That tower is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. I mean, the whole place is fantastic. The tower would be a dream come true to me. I mean, is there a chance that the owners would be prepared to split it and maybe let the tower go separately?
Wouldn't like to dismiss the fact of maybe the house as well, because it is stunning. It's something very special.
I know it is, but I'm sure you'd have to break your piggy bank, my dear. But we'll see.
I'll have a word with the owner,
Yeah.
and I'll see what he has to say about that, and maybe I could get back to you on that.
Lovely. OK.
Time to scarper before my Sue drops me in it with a £5 million bill.
5.3 million, you've got to be having a laugh, haven't you, you know?
That's a lot of money to pay for a bedroom that's in a bunker.
Well, I'm
not going to live up the top of it.
Well, it's lovely, don't get me wrong. So, no, I mean, we'd have to drop Freddie's wages.
I'm on the hunt for unusual items that will tell the story of the hidden heroes of D-Day. The army of people working behind the scenes to make the invasion a success.
Some guy, I haven't seen him for maybe 15, 20 years, phoned me up out of the blue, and he was saying, I met this old geezer the other week. He's still driving a tractor that he was given in World War II.
The soldiers who scrambled onto the Normandy beaches had to fight through German defences and barricades. But you can't do that with your bare hands, so they use special military bulldozers. So this could be a gift.
So who are we actually meeting here today?
Well, we're going to see a guy called Owen, but he's getting on a bit, so I've been in touch with his granddaughter, Jo.
Right. Hello? Hello, mate, I'm Bruce, pleased to meet you. Hello, mate, I'm Bruce, pleased to meet you. All right, this is Freddie.
Hello.
All right.
Owen is the grand age of 86 and worked a farm as a lad during the war.
How comes you've got this one then?
Ex-army.
Oh, it's ex-army, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Can we have a look? Can we pull the cover off?
Yeah, of course, yeah,
have a
that's
look.
fine.
Now, Freddie, this is where your expertise comes in. Hang on. Oh, Freddie, look at this. Fantastic. Very nice.
The continuous tank, or caterpillar track, was pioneered by an American engineer called Benjamin Hull, who started the Caterpillar Company. He built thousands of these dozers for the Allies, and they were invaluable on and just after D-Day. Not just breaking through German beach defences, but for clearing roads, towing vehicles stuck in the sand, and thousands of other things. The US Army didn't want to put Caterpillar out of business by flooding the home market with ex-military dozers. So many of them, like this D4 dozer, were left behind.
So do you know what year it is?
It was 1940 on the clock, but you see, I went to the war.
Right, OK.
Ex-army, you see, they came back and they reconditioned them.
This dozer has a second engine called a donkey engine, which is used instead of the battery to start up its hefty 4-cylinder, 35 horsepower main engine. Does a donkey engine start on the key?
No, got a bit of muscle.
Huh?
You got a bit.
You got to crank it over.
That starts on a rope.
Oh, mega. Like starting an old car with a hand crank, this dozer starts the same way, except you use a piece of rope. It sounds simple, but I've never actually done it. Oh, Owen, you're going to have to come and give us a hand with this, because I wouldn't know where to begin.
For start, you want your rope, and you put your rope round the pulley.
Yep.
There's your choke, there's your throttle,
Yep.
and then your bendix is here.
The what?
Bendix.
It's not easy. The dozer's over 70 years old, the instructions are in thick Sussex English, and the starter is a piece of string. Right.
You got all that, Freddie?
Now we've got to wind the rope round, yeah?
Wind the rope round it, yes. It's got to come in this way, you see. You put it through there, you see.
Yeah. And now we just got to pull it.
That's you should pull it now, and it should go.
There you go.
OK. Ready?
Yes, go on then.
Call me Freddie, the donkey whisperer.
Owen's been using it on his farm for years, which has kept the engine ticking over.
Sounds great.
How do you turn it off?
Put that right down and pull this out.
It's not bad.
You don't have to shout.
There aren't many of these dozers left, but to me, the guys that drove them on the Normandy beaches were as heroic as the guys with guns.
How much are you going to ask for it?
Well, I think it's got a lot
Sit down, talk to Uncle Bruce.
it's got a lot of sentimental value, hasn't it,
Had a lot of
Grandad?
sentimental value there.
That's 50 quid.
A bit more than that.
Come on then.
I think probably about 7.5 grand.
Whoa. Good job I'm sitting down. that's quite a bit more than I thought. Listen,
Right.
it's nice, don't get me wrong, and I'd like to buy it, but I seem to feel that £5,000 is the right price for this.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hoping for a bit more, weren't we, Grandad?
A bit more.
Didn't we? A bit more than that. So maybe, say, 6,000?
6 grand.
Yeah?
Got yourself a deal.
Lovely.
That'll do it, mate.
That's a fair price for a wartime D4 dozer. I can make a decent profit selling it on, but I confess it would break my heart to see it go.
I'm very happy. That'll go to a nice home. That's the good news. The bad news is Freddie's got to drive it home.
Good luck.
With the D-Day Dakota, D-Day D4 dozer and other D-Day items, I'm doing well. And today I'm off for more D-Day delights down in Dorset.
Who's this guy we're going to see today?
He contacted us by email, and apparently he's moving his museum from here to France.
An old Dorset contact of mine called Gary Stern has decided to start a war museum in Normandy. But he has more D-Day artefacts than he can use, so he's invited me along.
Oh, how are you, Gary? All right?
Great, thanks. How are you? You
Yeah,
okay?
fine, really busy as normal up the wall. Is there stuff here?
Yeah, it's just up the road, but it's on a private estate.
All right, listen, we'll just follow you then.
Okay, super.
Cheers, mate.
Gary's got much of his kit already in storage, and like a lot of collectors, its location is top secret.
Blooming hell. Dear, you've got some tackling here, haven't you? Blooming hell, Gary. Do you know what's in here? Can we pull some of this out then,
Yeah,
Gary,
pull it
just to
out.
see what the score is? So what are they, Gary? Egg cups?
Yeah, they're German naval egg cups. They're marked, German property marked on the bottom.
When the Third Reich came to power, they took control of the country's porcelain factories and got them to produce everything from toilets to egg cups for the Wehrmacht. But from the get-go, fresh eggs were in short supply in wartime Germany, so it was powdered eggs all round, which is why these egg cups look unused.
How much are these, Gary?
Well, retail's 8 to 10 quid each.
If I had a few, you'd do me a deal, don't you?
Of course I can, yeah, I can do.
How much for a dozen?
75.
75 quid, yeah? Lovely, ain't even going to argue.
Nothing to do with D-Day, but I love items like this. Fascinating bit of history and affordable to collectors who are just starting out. Gary's lockup is stuffed. There's bits all over that catch my eye.
Oh, hold on, that's a control panel for a glider.
I want that.
Where you go, Bruce? That's handy.
So's that. What's that up there? Another German helmet?
Yeah, it's a Luftwaffe one, that.
I could go crazy here, but it's D-Day stuff I'm after.
I know what I've got that you might be interested in here. It's a military medal, but this one's been issued to a guy who was the first tank to hit the beach on D-Day.
No.
Yeah, and here's his certificate for his exceptional service, and it says, in command of a flail tank, his was the first to touch down at HR on D-Day in Normandy.
That's incredible.
The Normandy beaches were laced with thousands of German landmines, which killed and maimed scores of Allied soldiers. To clear a path through them, flail tanks were used. These would literally flail the ground with spinning chains to set off mines. Kind of a cross between a tank and a combine harvester. Incredibly scary and dangerous to drive. Being a flail tank crew on D-Day took guts.
Is that possibly for sale, Gary?
It's not something I'm going to sell now, unfortunately. I want to keep it for the museum, and I think that's where it belongs, in all fairness.
This is the problem with trying to do business with a museum curator.
Right, but is there something I can buy here?
OK, I've got 3 rare fanny uniforms here.
No giggling in class. The First Aid Nursing Yeomanry, or Fanny, started off as a unit for female nurses.
It was a First World War unit that went on into the Second World War and did a lot of spying in Europe for the Brits.
Those charming Fanny nurses were transformed into deadly secret agents working with the Special Operations Executive. They acted as assassins, spies and saboteurs behind the enemy lines. 13 of them were captured and murdered by the Gestapo.
Lots of them became very famous after the war for their bravery, but these were the uniforms that they would have worn on service in England so they could blend in as military personnel.
These uniforms are perfect examples of unsung heroes working behind the scenes of D-Day. Fanny agents would have risked their lives to provide valuable information for the invasion, maybe even for those detailed D-Day plans I've just bought.
And what sort of money would they be?
They're 250 a jacket.
So you're saying 250 quid? There's 150 quid each.
I'd need a bit more than that. I think 200.
So 600 for the 3, 550 for 3. Good.
575.
You're hard, man.
OK.
I don't know if I'll ever make a profit on these, but such is the unimaginable bravery of the women who wore these uniforms, I've just got to have them.
Gary, I'm chuffed with that, mate. Really been a really good pick, hasn't it? We're going to see an old friend of mine called Joe. The guy has got an art of gold.
If you're looking for the more unusual items connected with D-Day, Joe's your man.
He gets really nice stuff.
I've been dealing with Joe for years, and he's well known in the military circles for laying his hands on the quirkier items.
Give him a toot.
Joe!
Hey!
How we doing, my friend?
Great, long
time
time
no
no
see. You keeping well? Nice to see you, mate. Listen, this is Freddie.
Hi, Joe.
Nice
Freddie,
to meet
how are you?
Joe's house is so round with kit, he's had to buy old shipping containers to store the surplus. And there's nothing I love more than surplus.
Have a look at that little lot.
I weren't expecting to see that inside the shipping container.
Oh, that's great, mate.
Loads of stuff in here.
Joe, can I have a rummage round?
You help yourself, guys.
Anything we're into, I'll bring up forward.
With pleasure, there's more room in there for you two.
Joe's stock is what you might call eclectic. World Wars, Boer War, you name it, all jumbled up.
There's all kinds of bits and pieces here. Tapered shells. That's nice, look at that.
We're meant to be looking for D-Day kit, but Bruce is like a kid in a sweet shop.
Joe, you got some really nice stuff here, stuff I've never seen. Just close the door, I'll sleep in here.
Keeping the boss on point is like herding cats up a hill.
Lovely stuff here. That's nice. That's nice. Right, while we're here, little grenade box. How much that? Yeah? How much that?
To you, 50 quid, Bruce.
I ain't even gonna argue. Lovely, thanks, mate. Yeah, nice, that's lovely.
You can always shift a grenade box, but suddenly I spot something I haven't seen before.
This dartboard.
Yeah.
It's fascinating me, right? What's the story behind that?
That was something that was sold by ARP Supplies.
Yeah.
Early on in the war.
Right.
It's called Blitzkrieg, and it was just a fun game played by darts.
Right.
World War was all-consuming. War movies, war songs, war books, and even war games. Typical Joe to have a Blitzkrieg dartboard.
How much that then, Joe?
About $3.75 on that, I'm afraid. It's a lot, but it's super rare. I've never seen another one.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. And it's quirky, so I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2.5. How's 2.5?
Ooh. $3.50, Bruce.
You've only knocked 25 quid off. Listen, 300. It's the most I can do. It's a dartboard.
Oh.
Come on, 300.
Go on, then.
All right, there, 300.
Go on, man.
Another one done as well. I mean, it's the most expensive dartboard's ever been bought in history.
I'm betting that dartboard's one of a kind.
That's nice. Right, what's next, Tim?
You were saying you're feeling a bit peckish, Bruce, so I found you a little box of biscuits for the journey home.
This is right up our street. I mean,
You like that, do you?
Army issued, unopened pack, hardtack. The nearest thing I can imagine what hardtack biscuit today is like a bonio, but a square one.
The D-Day troops carried emergency rations like this in their knapsacks. These long-lasting so-called hardtack biscuits were made from flour, water, and if you were lucky, salt. A far cry from custard creams, but there was a war on.
How much that, Joe?
To you, Bruce. 100 quid.
100 quid.
There's probably 100 biscuits.
Exactly. I was just working out how much for a biscuit. Lovely, I love that, mate.
Thank you.
No problem with that at all. I like that.
I'll just stop him eating them on the way home.
Yeah, well, have a big flask of tea, you'll be well away.
Seems a lot for a tin of 70-year-old biscuits, but it's a bargain. And then I spot something that might make this trip very worthwhile.
Joe, can I wheel the well bike down, yeah?
With pleasure, Bruce, of course.
Let's pull it out. I am obviously a little bit nervous because I'll probably need a seat to ask you how much this is.
Well, how deep a pockets have you got,
Put it
Bruce?
on there, eh? I mean, a well bike. For me, I've been trying to get hold of one. There ain't many original ones again.
Nope.
Produced for the airborne forces, loaded into containers, dropped out by parachute, reassembled on the ground.
Yeah.
The well bike was specifically designed as transportation for paratroopers behind enemy lines on D-Day. The manufacturers claimed it could be assembled and running in just 11 seconds.
Look, a little tag, pull the tag, handlebars fold down. I mean, this is down at the minute, but you can raise the seat up and down.
So you
Look
can
how compact that is.
Does it run all right?
Yeah, it runs fine.
As an ex-para, I'm passionate about all things para-related. And this strange little vehicle is something really special.
That's interesting to me. I mean, what sort of money would that be?
Ooh.
Brucey price.
You won't like it, Bruce. It'd have to be about 14,000.
14,000?
Yeah.
Joe, listen, 14 grand's just too much. I thought they'd go for about 9.5 grand.
Which wheel would you like, Bruce?
Ah, come on.
Come on,
you know,
you come up a bit.
10 grand.
Best price, final price, Bruce. You bought a lot today. The very best would be 12,000, I'm afraid, and I think that's a bargain.
12 grand. All right, listen, on the cuff, I'll take a chance of that, Joe.
Good luck.
All right.
Look after it.
Okay, yeah, I will. Well, it won't want me sitting on it
No,
to start.
That's why I've sold this, not for me.
It's not,
That's a big price tag for a little motorbike. But as unusual D-Day memorabilia goes, it doesn't get better than this.
Joe, it's been a pleasure, mate.
You're always welcome.
You look like yourself.
Good luck,
mate.
safe journey,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
Joe, mate.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Cheerio.
Freddie, you have had some blinding ideas, but this ain't one of them. I am absolutely freezing here.
I'm on my way to the legendary airfield Biggin Hill to drop off a wartime American Jeep.
This is probably the most iconic airfield of the Battle of Britain.
The Battle of Britain is up there with Waterloo and Trafalgar as one of the battles that determined the course of British history. Immediately following Britain's hasty retreat from Dunkirk, one of our biggest ever defeats, Hitler wanted to press home his advantage and invade Britain. But before the German troops could land, they had to control the skies. So Hitler sent in the Luftwaffe with 900 fighters and 1,800 bombers. The British RAF was vastly outnumbered with fewer than 700 fighters, including the famous Spitfires that were based here at Biggin Hill.
Yeah, look at them in there. Yeah, a bit different to what we do, innit?
These workshops are devoted to restoring super rare Spitfires. They're run by former commercial pilot Peter Monk. The public can even pay to fly in one of his Spitfires, and he also has a wonderful World War II museum.
Peter, how did that lie? You all right? Good trip down here.
Yeah.
Listen, there she is. Have a look at it. Runs well, starts on the button, mate, believe me.
Fire it up, Peter, see how it goes.
Oh dear.
It was a long drive. It's probably run out of fuel.
There you go.
Fine. Engine sweet's fine, mate.
Peter wants this Jeep for driving his paying customers around the base and has agreed to pay a tidy $9 grand for one that has all the original trimmings, if he likes it.
Perfect, Bruce.
Thank you, mate.
Exactly what we need, Bruce. It's fine. Perfect.
Music to my ears. Peter's got a top-notch Jeep to buzz around Biggin Hill, and I've got a nice chunk of change in my pocket.
Can we have a look round in here? I can't believe what I'm seeing in here.
If you've got a few minutes.
Yeah, we've got a few. I've got a few hours with things like
Let's
that.
go and have a look.
Look at this. I mean, hell. So that hurricane, can I just have a look? I mean, I've never been this close to a hurricane, to be quite honest with you.
In the Battle of Britain, more German planes were shot down by Hurricanes than by Spitfires. But it was the nimble Spitfire that pilots all wanted to fly.
Entire assembly line, right from a bare fuselage up to the almost finished product.
Just over 20,000 Spitfires were ever built, but sadly just 55 are still airworthy today. And a lot of those seem to be sitting in Peter's shed.
How many Spitfires have you actually got here?
We've got 13 Spitfires
13?
in the States at the moment. Yeah.
That's amazing.
The Battle of Britain started in June 1940, and in the first 6 weeks, the RAF lost about 320 planes. But in those same 6 weeks, our factories churned out double that number of new Spitfires. To the astonishment of the Germans, despite their best efforts, we had more planes at the end of the Battle of Britain than we had at the start. Producing lots of planes in a hurry is hard enough. Producing experienced pilots is impossible. Many pilots were killed, and to replace them, lads were being sent up with just 10 hours of solo flight training.
This one here on the right, flown by a 19-year-old that became an ace on it.
A 19-year-old?
Yeah.
Then, out the corner of my eye, I spot the evil arch-enemy of the Spitfire, the Messerschmitt 109. It was a deadly foe during the Battle of Britain, and now a creature which is all but extinct.
One of only 2 left in the world.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's mint. What sort of money is one of these now?
Well, if you've got $15 million in your pocket...
15 million?
The 109 was actually a bit faster than the Spitfire at low altitudes. But what counts in a dogfight is agility. And there, the Spitfire won hands down.
I didn't realise that you had German stuff here, to be quite honest with you.
There's an interest, a big interest in German aircraft. And not just planes, we're interested in German wartime vehicles as well. And one in particular that we're looking for, which you might be able to help with, is a German Kugelwagen.
You're after a Kugelwagen?
Yep.
Listen, Peter, I can definitely help you with the Kugelwagen.
The Kugelwagen did for the Germans exactly what the Jeep did for the Allies. But whereas the Americans churned out over 500,000 Jeeps, the Germans struggled to produce just 50,000 Kugels. And because there's less of them, they're more expensive. Yeah, they're becoming rare, but I can definitely help you with one of them. Peter wants the Kubel for his museum, and I think it would look lovely parked alongside the 109. Is there anything else you're after as well, though?
Well, as you can see by our restorations, we need lots of aircraft parts. In particular, Battle of Britain. So any parts, curios that you could help with.
I will find you the best Kuhwagen this side of Berlin and many other parts if I can get my hands on them for you. I can talk the talk, but there ain't many Kubels about, and the people that own them rarely want to sell them.
Well, Peter, thanks a lot. Had a super day. I'm glad you're happy with the Jeep. Thanks a lot. Cheers, Peter. Ta-da, mate. Right. Where's the car?
You just sold it.
A Sherman is one of those iconic vehicles that any collector really wants to have. They're awesome things. The bloke selling this tank is a contact of mine called Gavin. He's been into American military vehicles since he was a teenager. The tank's only just come on the market, and because we've done deals in the past, Gavin's given me first dibs, but I've got to move fast.
Now, he's given me a price, but until we've seen it and we see what the score is and how it drives, all bets are off.
That's it, that's the Sherman. Look at that. What an amazing beast. Well worth doing the red eye for.
Gavin? Hello, mate, all right? Pleased to see you, all right? You remember Freddie?
I do.
Right, go. See you again.
Yeah. You might have washed it for me, you know what I mean?
It's got that combat look.
Yeah. So it's a 1943.
1943 built for the Canadian troops.
Around 50,000 Shermans rolled off the US production lines, but I can count on my fingers the ones that are running in Britain. It wasn't just the Americans who used them. Made in the US, they were lent out to all the Allies, including the Russians. The British were given 17,000. By 1943, the Sherman was the key British battle tank, but they had a fatal flaw.
These things burst into flames, and the Germans nicknamed them Tommykos.
That's it.
And I think the British called them Ronsons. After the lighter.
They called them Ronsons and Tommy Cookers because by 1942 the Germans had built heavy tanks that could rip through the Sherman's armour. A hit from a German Tiger could turn your Sherman into an inferno of burning petrol and ammo, which is partly why there ain't more Shermans about.
Right. Well, I think they were a little bit more slender in them days.
Well, you're trying to tell me something.
Oh dear, there's no room in here at all.
So, Freddie, what's it like inside? You've disappeared, mate.
Not bad, it's quite complete.
Is it?
It's going to need a bit of a clean-up, it's well lived in. The inside looks stripped bare, but that's how they were. They wore helmets, not to stop bullets, but to stop them being knocked unconscious inside the tank.
Without further ado, then, I would love to listen to it. Is that possible?
It is.
OK, all right. Right, let's hear this baby roar then, yeah?
Most Shermans were made in Detroit by companies like General Motors and Chrysler, who knew a thing or two about mass production. But a small number, only 188, were made in Canada, and this is one of them.
Oh!
That makes it interesting, rare and valuable.
Right, Gavin, listen, we need to go and have a chat, because I'm very keen.
This tank needs almost nothing doing to it. To make any profit, I need to seal a good deal now, but a running Sherman won't come cheap. Gavin's asking price is just shy of 200 grand.
Listen, I really do like it. The only thing is, obviously, I know what we talked about on the phone, like 195. I just think that's a bit top heavy. I don't want to get in a Dutch auction or a haggling war with you, but I honestly see this as it is now at 175. And if you're prepared to take 175, you've got yourself a deal.
175. Yeah, I think
it's like money on the table. I can have the deal today with you if you'll go at 175.
Today. 175.
Done.
Go on then.
That was easy, that was it. You might wash it though. You know what I mean?
175 grand is a good price, but there's not much margin in there. I need to work out how to increase its value to turn a profit when virtually nothing needs doing to it.
Hello?
Mrs. Crompton.
I am, yes.
We have a delivery for you.
Ah. My husband's been shopping again, I see. He used to buy things that fitted on a mantelpiece. My neighbours take deliveries for flowers, DVDs and groceries. With me, I have to sign for a 30-ton tank. The trouble with tanks is they can do a lot of damage. I've seen pictures of the ruins of Berlin and I don't want that happening to my drive. OK, guys, keep everything good for me. I don't want the Sherman's tracks taken up off the tarmac, yeah?
Right.
No holes?
All right.
OK, let's get them up to here. Great stuff.
Tanks are noisy, so like with helicopters and planes, tank crews use hand signals to communicate with each other. Sue knows them well because she's been married to Bruce for over 30 years.
Nice one, mate. That's a really good job. Well done.
No worries.
Yeah,
Job
cool.
done.
I'm now the proud owner of a super rare Sherman tank. But it didn't come cheap.
175.
Done. You might wash it though. I need to find ways to add value to this tank. So Freddie and I are off to catch a ferry to Normandy where there were lots of Sherman tank battles and hopefully some Sherman relics. Ammunition racks, machine gun mounts will all up its price. But before we go, I've arranged to meet a dealer in a pub car park of all places.
And there he is, Tom. Lovely, just pull in here. Morning, Tom. How you doing?
Bruce, very well, and yourself?
How you going? You all right?
Nice to see you.
Good, good. This is Freddie.
Hi, Freddie.
Tom, nice to meet
meet
you.
I don't make a habit of meeting men in car parks, but Tom is on his way to a trade fair and I want to nab him to get first dibs on his stock. That's because Tom's speciality is American World War II paraphernalia, so hopefully he'll have some Sherman-related items.
What are these?
OK, you might find these interesting. These are motion sickness pills.
Right.
So these were issued to all invasion troops. They're basically like a form of tranquiliser.
But that seems strange, the things that you would want to take yourself down when you're about to have a tear-up with the old Hermans.
There were famous stories of the guys landing in Normandy and actually falling asleep in the battleground because they'd taken too many pills.
While the Allies were calming their troops down, the lunatic Germans were doing the exact opposite. They handed out tens of millions of tabs of Pethertin, known these days as crystal meth, which made German soldiers fearless and aggressive, but also irritable and psychotic.
That's interesting. I've never seen those.
No, they're unusual.
How much are they?
We're looking about £250.
Can Freddie try one first? He does like a kip once in a while.
I wouldn't recommend it.
In all fairness, 250. No, they're fine. Nice, but I'll give those a miss.
Interesting as these pills are, I don't fancy taking them through customs to Normandy.
What else you got in here? Wartime photographs?
Well, a little birdie tells me that you might have bought yourself a Sherman.
Yeah, news travels fast, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well,
can't keep a secret.
When you land a rare working Sherman, word gets out quick.
These are original personal taken photos of D-Day just off of Utah Beach of the 70th Tank Battalion.
Oh, is it? Oh, blimey.
So there's the pictures of the tanks covered up by camouflage nets and the convoy on their way to Normandy.
They're all Shermans, aren't they? Yeah.
They're all Shermans of the 70th Tank Battalion.
Yeah, look what he's put on the back of that. It says, on the way in. On the way in, see it?
Yeah. I can't begin to tell you how unusual D-Day photographs are of armoured units on their way to the beaches. Very, very unusual. Yeah, they were actually banned from taking cameras and taking photographs.
These photos are fascinating. A rare depiction of American troops on their way to Utah Beach with their Sherman tanks. But also they're taken by ordinary soldiers, which wasn't allowed. Allied governments wanted to control what people saw. They thought people would have no stomach for war if they saw what it was really like.
I mean, the fact that these are actual real photographs of somebody that was taking them on the morning of D-Day and they're of Shermans, they're really interesting to me. You got a figure on these, Tom?
OK, be warned, they're not cheap.
Right.
We're going to be looking at about £50 a picture.
50 quid a picture? Blooming hell. It would be a terrible shame to break them up.
I totally agree, they've got to stay together.
But that's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 5, so it's 250 quid.
I mean, how does buy 4 get 1 free work? I mean, £200, and then I'm keeping them all together, you know.
As you're going to keep them together, let's do it. You've twisted my arm.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, that's fine. They're interesting because, again, they're unpublished. Unpublished, uncensored photographs of Sherman tanks on the most famous invasion in modern history, D-Day. They're not going to significantly increase the value of the Sherman, but they're not going to hurt. Interesting. Right, that's great, Tom. We got to get going, mate. Thanks,
fine.
Tom. Much appreciated.
Nice to see you, gents. Thank you very much.
Be in touch next week, mate. Ta-ra, mate.
We've come to War and Peace, the world's biggest festival of old wartime military hardware. Look at the size of it. It goes all the way over there. Look, it's huge.
100,000 people come here to buy and sell old military kit. It shows you how big this world is. There's repro stuff and plenty of original kit too. I reckon I can pick up some bargains if I keep my eyes peeled. Listen, there's some nice gear in here, mate.
Mobile phone?
It ain't a mobile phone.
Yeah?
Right, again,
Yeah,
right?
can I call a cab, please?
Yeah, listen, that is a wartime American shortwave radio. This thing is considered the first ever handheld walkie-talkie, developed by the Galvin Company, who later became Motorola. It even came with a waterproof case. Every US and British platoon landed in Normandy on D-Day had at least one of these with them. 260. Is that each or...?
It's got to be each. Look, same one again. 260 quid a piece, and they don't even have a hands-free kit. Look, 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 look. Like a gun.
Listen, it ain't a gun. It ain't a gun. What that is, right, believe it or not, it's a torch. And it's a torch for Pathfinder units. Pathfinders were the first people that landed. Pathfinder units were first used in World War II. Elite paratroopers that were dropped ahead of the main forces to recce and set up drop zones. It was a dangerous but crucial job, and communication was central to their task. They'd normally handle with this. Yeah, look.
Yeah.
So that would be put on there, and basically what they would do is they would fire it in Morse code and identify where they were on the ground to the aircraft. And that is a torch. Look down there. See? It's battery operated in there.
No.
It's €300.
So how much is that in pounds?
£260. Ain't a bad price, I've got to be honest with you. But it's not my cup of tea.
Oh, Bruce, what is that?
Well, you'd like that for weekends, wouldn't you? Do you know what that is?
No.
Try it on. Come here.
What is it?
Right, that is... Right, that is... So you open your mouth like that. It's a cold weather
Are you
mask.
serious?
Yes, so when you're in cold conditions, right? Right, it's something that will protect your face from the cold weather. These masks were lifesavers. In the Russian winter of 1941, temperatures fell to minus 40 degrees. In many battles, more soldiers were killed by the cold than by armed combat. The 6th Panzer Division alone suffered 800 frostbite casualties a day.
Here, Bruce.
What?
Come have a look at this. Is that a real one, a rebar or what?
Tell you, inside,
Yeah.
that's a real one. That ain't cheap, right? Because of the black liner and the manufacturer's name, 1944, that's an original wartime airborne berry.
Serious?
Yeah. This distinctive headgear was adopted by the British Airborne in 1942 at the direction of General Frederick Browning. And if you think the colour is impractical, you're not wrong. Rumour has it was chosen by his missus. It's got the original King's Crown on it, right?
Yeah.
That's how you can tell whether it's wartime or whoever the monarch was. So you can have a King's Crown and a Queen's Crown. That's a King's Crown. The top section of the badge is meant to be a crown and an imperial lion. Some troops call it the dog and basket. The make is, I think it's Kanga. There you go. They're the main manufacturers for wartime berries.
I'd thought Kangol was a trendy fashion label. I had no idea they made World War II red berets. Let's find out how much they are.
There'll be at least £1,000 a piece.
£1,000?
There'll be
For a
thousands.
berry?
Yeah. Because you have to earn it.
Mate, I ain't touching that then.
Original berries like this go for silly money, but you can't do them up. So to see a return on your investment, you've got to sit on them for at least 10 years. Lovely things, but not to pick. Yeah, look. Airborne radio stuff. These are the radio sets that they used at Arnhem and Normandy, right? Good communications in war are vital. And these number 38 Mark II radio sets were invaluable to the Allies. They had a range of 2 miles. Around 190,000 were made. But I've never seen a set in such mint condition. That, my friend, is a throat mic. Come here. That goes round there, okay? And that's how you communicate. These mics pick up vocal cord vibrations through dual sensors attached to the neck, so you can communicate even in the middle of a noisy battle. Wow. That is 70 years old, and look at the condition of it, right? Now, there are all kinds of components go with this. Look at that. It's all here, and it's all brand new. To find original kit in such good condition is rare. This is something special, and it wouldn't be breaking the bank, as I've seen them sell for up to 650 quid. How much that set complete?
I'm looking around £575.
That's a little bit more than I thought. I mean, I thought they were going for about 350 quid.
I'm willing to haggle with you, but that's a little bit too far out.
What's the best price you can do on it? Come on, give me a good deal here today. Sun's shining, you're in England, God's own country. Come on, what can we do with this?
Well, the very best would be £525.
Let's say 4 1/4, 425 quid.
Ooh. What about 5?
450.
75. 475. 475 and we have a deal. It's a rare radio.
Yeah, it's a rare radio, I must say. Is that gift wrapped?
It is indeed.
475. Job done. I'll have that.
All
Okay.
right, thank you very much.
All right, lovely. Number 38 Mark II radio set. Not bad. Bought for 475, worth 650, so that's a potential profit of 175 quid.
The thing weighs a ton. At least we can listen to the cricket on the way home.
The problem is, my Jeep is a bit of a mongrel. It's got a World War II body, but a post-war engine and wheels. If I can replace them with original ones, it will bump up the price. And this is the place to find them. The War and Peace Show near Folkestone. But I reckon peace was a bit of an afterthought. There are hundreds of Jeeps and parts here, and I've brought my money man Hoos along to keep an eye on my spending. I want to get some Jeep engine parts, I want to get some first aid kits. I just want to have a general look round to see what we can find. Rightio. Before we search for an engine and wheels, I want some original Jeep accessories to make it even more authentic. I want little bits and pieces so that we can kit the Jeep out. You've got to root round this stuff though, mate. It's got to be original stuff. The stalls here have got loads of post-war gear, but mixed in with original World War II kit. The challenge for dealers like me is telling them apart. It looks what we're looking for, right? But it ain't what we're looking for. This is a post-war one. This one's wrong because it's got 4 clips on it. It should only have 2 clips on it and a hinge right the way down one side. This box isn't right for a wartime Jeep, so I'll have to hunt for one another time. What is this here?
A bandage, American 1943, yes.
Original wartime,
Original, yes, original.
What are these things here? These ones here? Are these a bigger one?
The big one, the big, large first aid dressings.
Lovely, OK, all right. We take bandages for granted, but they're almost as important as a gun to a soldier. During World War II, a soldier had an 85% chance of survival if he was treated within an hour. So to reach injured troops fast, the US Army started filling Jeeps with first aid kits and used them as 4-wheel drive ambulances. Because of things like this, you were 10 times more likely to survive being wounded in World War II than in World War I. How much is that? What's that, £10?
It's €10.
10 euros.
To be honest.
Oh, that's OK, it's even better. Listen, can I make a little bit of a pile and we'll have a little divvy up at the end?
We'll put them here.
All right, put them there. Can I just have a look at that mess tin? Is it an American one, yeah?
It's an American one. It's marked US. I think it's 44.
That's what we want. This goes in the Jeep. All the American troops used to carry it. See where that's been burnt. Do you have any of the heater things that go with it?
Yeah, the heater things, Second World War.
Lovely. So you'd open this, put it underneath, they put these on the bonnet, boom, and they cook on them straight away. These mess tins and burners are fantastic. Over 16 million Americans served in World War II. That's a lot of mouths to feed. The last thing you want to be carrying into battle is heavy cooking gear, and these little windproof burners meant troops could rustle up some hot grub under any conditions.
But they did have a downside. Don't touch, they're poisonous, look. If you have these in a confined space, you'll keel over. It's like you're on brandy.
These burners used a toxic alcohol, which if you drank it, could kill you. But the troops found ways to distill them and mix up a cocktail or two. I think I'll stick to the Baileys.
We'll take 4 of them, yeah?
Yeah, no problem, Dan.
All right, because he's hungry.
These accessories will make my Jeep more authentic. I had ear defenders and a gun strap to put together a bulk buy.
Right, let's have a little tally up.
Yep, 10, 12 is 22 and 30. 52, 30 is 82, and the air defenders...
Times 2, yeah?
90 altogether.
So what's my discount?
Your discount?
Come on, you've got to have a bit of discount here.
The best I can do is minus 10%. So,
no,
Belgian can count, so 90, 80.
80?
80.
That's better than 10%. Job
Okay.
done. Lovely.
I got a good little deal there, I reckon. It's always worth asking for a discount, especially if you're buying a lot of stuff.
You all happy with your shopping there, then?
Yes, I am. Very, very happy.
We go home now?
No, we can't go home yet. Right, you know what we're looking for, but there's other stuff here we could be interested in. See these? These are the mounts, the 30 cal mounts.
As well as filling jeeps with first aid and cooking kit, the US Army also mounted weapons on them. Now, all Hoos and I've got to do is to find the right engine, and only a World War II original will do.
Straight away, I can tell you, right, that ain't what we're looking for.
Show me.
The air filter's in the wrong place. It has the wrong carburettor on it. This is an ex-French Army post-war engine. That ain't what I want. I can buy them off the internet, right, to a penny.
So this is no good for us?
It's no good for us at all, mate. You're learning. I'm educating you.
You are, yeah.
Don't go back to school.
Come on,
See what else she's got here.
I'm none the wiser. I can't tell these Jeeps apart.
They look the same, but they ain't the same. Let me explain what happened. During the war, they wanted a general-purpose vehicle, so they put a contract out to Willys and they put one out to Ford. Willys won it, but they couldn't produce enough. So because of the Ford, right, organisation with production line, Ford made them as well.
The story goes that when the US Army wanted a new general-purpose vehicle, the troops shortened it to GP. Hence came the word Jeep. Working at full whack, Ford and Willys churned out a Jeep every 2 minutes, and every part the two companies produced was identical.
They were all interchangeable. So you could take a Willys engine and put it in a Ford chassis. You could do vice versa as well, right? And they were made in their thousands.
Over 650,000 Jeeps were made during the war, but only a tiny fraction of the ones that survive are 100% Ford or 100% Willys. It's got a Ford chassis, so I need a Ford engine. How do you spot an original part? Well, fortunately, the lads at the Ford factory left a few clues.
You see in there, there's an F, denotes Ford. Right, look at that. See that on the top?
Yeah.
Ford. So everything we're searching for, that we need to look for today, has got to have that F stamp on it.
Points make prizes.
Absolutely. Points make money.
Yeah.
Finally, the penny's dropped. Now Inspector Husso is hot on the trail of an engine with an F stamp. Nothing can distract him, unless it's a big shiny silver thing with a handle.
What? It ain't a siren in a Jeep. What is it? Well, it ain't for a Jeep. Look at the size of the thing.
Air raid sirens were only removed from British towns 20 years ago. Hoos nearly started World War III with this one, but on the plus side, he stumbled across what we're looking for.
That is a Ford engine. See that F there?
Right, yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. That's what we've been walking around like an idiot for. With all the accessories on, this will drop straight into an original Ford chassis. If I could get it for about £3,000, right, it will whack up the value of that original Ford Jeep.
This engine is spot on, and they stock the wheels as well. Happy days.
I've got the wrong wheels on the front of mine. I've got the wide wheels. I don't really need the tyres. It's just the wheels that'd do me. All right.
Let's have a word with the geezer.
This engine, I see it's a wartime Ford engine, yeah?
Yeah.
Completely rebuilt.
Yeah.
Back to an original standard, I take it, yeah?
Yep.
If I had the two wheels and the engine, how much that be?
Roughly €5,000.
So you're saying 5,000? What about 3,500? You got to do something on it for me.
The price is 5,000, but I can give you 4,500.
What about 3,500?
That's too low.
Oh, come on, what can you do to me? You know, I'm a cash buyer, bang, on the nose, paying the money straight away.
We can meet in the middle, 4,000.
4,000 euros for the two lots. Put it there, lovely. Okay.
When Bruce splashes the cash, I get a bit twitchy until I do a quick tally up.
We budgeted 4,000 sterling for the engine and the wheels, and we got them for 4,000 euros. That's just £3,400.
I reckon there's enough left over for Bruce to treat me to a novelty alarm clock.
You want that now, didn't you, eh?
I want it on my bedroom door, mate.
Yeah?
Nice.
Yeah,
Wake up time.
So keep the wife away, that's why. There's reenactment stuff here, there's repro stuff. There are hundreds of stories. The challenge to a dealer like me is to sniff out the valuable and authentic items before anybody else gets them.
Bruce, how are you doing?
I'm fine, mate, enjoying the sunshine. To do that, I rely on my network of contacts I've built up over 30 years. This guy's quite good. I've had stuff from him before. Mr. Ben.
Hey, Bruce.
How you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, good.
Nice to see you. This is my better half, Mr. Roos.
Hello.
Can we just have a look round and see what goodies and toys you got for us this year? My Dutch mate Ben has acquired some interesting new stock, and since we go way back, he's giving me first dibs. All these bits and pieces we could use, but we've got to be a bit selective on what we want. Oh, look, scaffold poles. Listen, they ain't scaffold poles. These are called Bangalore torpedoes, a fantastic bit of kit. These things are full of explosives. Bangalore torpedoes were invented by the British in 1912 and are still in use today. They screw together like pole sections of a chimney sweep brush, and then you slide them towards whatever it is you want to blow up. They're brilliant for clearing a path through minefields or massive barbed wire fences. Right, what else we got here? Ben, have you got anything quirky, little bits and pieces that we might be interested in?
Have a look at these.
What are they, mate?
AC delay capsules. They look like Christmas tree lights.
They ain't Christmas tree lights. Are these time fuses?
Yes, British Second World War.
For what, 1 hour, 2 hours, or 1 day, 2 days?
Between 1 hour and 48 hours.
Right. Put that in your mouth and buy it.
Why?
Because you'll have a buzz of your life. Imagine you're a commando. You plant a bomb under a bridge. It needs to explode in 3 hours. You choose a colour-coded vial. Different colours have different detonation times. You add the vial to the fuse and smash the glass. The chemical inside slowly burns through a plastic disc that's holding back a spring-loaded firing pin. When the time's up, kaboom! These were very popular with the French resistance, who used them for blowing up railway tracks and Nazi war factories. Lovely, Ben. Have you got any of the other sort of delayed action things, the German ones, the bigger ones? Oh, can I have a look at that, mate?
Of course.
This thing is precision engineering that was designed specifically as a time delay fuse. And here you've got the workings of a Swiss watch. You can put massive charges over bridges, buildings, anything, of time a fuse will go off. It's got a really long delay. It could be set to trigger up to 21 days after arming. At the end of the war, the retreating Germans used them to booby-trap places like abandoned headquarters, hoping Allied officers would have taken up residence there by the time the clock hit 0. Is this all original, all numbered?
Yep. It's number matching, the book, the fuse and the box.
Unbelievable, mate. I mean, that's really nice. They're really hard to find in this condition. I'm interested in that, Ben. Ben's little tip about his new stock really paid off here. I've sourced a very rare German 504 long delay fuse, 5 Bangalore torpedoes and 2 boxes of AC delay capsules. How much?
Okay, let me see.
Including Brucey bonus.
Yeah. 2,100.
How much? Ben, you got a chair? I feel a bit faint. That's a little bit too heavy for me, I've got to be honest with you.
Okay.
Give me 1,700 then.
Ah, you're killing me here, mate. 1,700 for a couple of scaffold poles
You
and a
know
couple
it's
of
a
old
good
bits.
price. You know it's a good price, Bruce.
I think 1,400 sounds about right.
Give me 1,500 and we have a deal.
£1,500, done, mate. Thanks, mate.
Okay, Bruce.
£1,500 is a bargain for this little lot. Sold off individually and marketed right, I'm looking to double me money. We're about to load up the motor when Ben gives us the lowdown on a recent business trip to Finland.
When I was there, I met a guy.
Right.
I went to this guy's house. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was full with cannons, all covered in the woods. And I went into his barn. Unbelievable. You could not walk. So many items. He had German cannons, Pak 40, 105, Russian cannons, boxes, cases, everything you want.
I feel like Indiana Jones. When you hear about hordes of military artefacts, you pack your bags and go. If you don't, somebody else will. In Finland, the Second World War was actually 3 wars. The first against the Russians, the second one allied with the Germans against the Russians, and the third allied to the Allies against the Germans. It was like Piccadilly Circus up there. As a result, there still is a lot of unclaimed kit lying around in Finland's vast cold forests. If you can organise it, I will be there tomorrow.
Bruce, leave it with me.
Yeah,
I will take care of it.
I won't sleep now, you know that.
Yeah, I know.
Ben, thanks, mate. See you later, mate.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
I fancy doing the same, but this isn't the place to pick up a deal on a gun. So I've sent my arms experts, Ian and Freddie, to hunt for one at Drop Zone Warehouse. This place specialises in old deactivated guns and it's packed with memorabilia.
Even got a helmet for you. Go with your fireman's out.
Oh, Mega. I'll wear this one if you put that other one on. See ya. Yeah. Because we're doing a D-Day jump, Bruce is keen to fit the Jeep with a 30 calibre machine gun, just like the US paratroopers did during the war. Finding one amongst this lot is not easy. Luckily, weapons expert Dave Main's on hand.
So, anything that floats your boat?
Well, we're after a 30, not one of those.
The A6?
That just looks like a machine gun drawn by someone that can't draw.
America's best answer to a light machine gun at the end of World War II.
Yeah, but compare that to this, look. I know what one I'd pick. This is more like it, the 30 calibre M1919. M stands for model, 1919 the year it was invented. The Americans made nearly 500,000 of them during World War II. They could be used by infantry or mounted on armoured carriers and jeeps.
It's a nice gun, that one. That's a 42 dated one.
That's more like what we're after.
Yeah,
What's the date of your Jeep?
Ask me a question on sport.
OK, yeah. Well, I mean, it's certainly period, and it's got to be appropriate for the Jeep, but that's the one you want.
That's what we're looking for, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm an armourer, so I work on these things. Have either you ever fired one of these before?
No, not with them, no.
Do you like to fire one of these?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, yeah.
I've got one of these in stock. I've got a place down the road, and we could probably set that up.
If we buy the gun, it'll be a deactivated version, but Dave has a live one locked up for special occasions. Perfect. I'm a big fan of try before you buy. So we head down to this range to put a real one through its paces. The sun is shining. I've got a box full of ammunition and a nice big target. Life is good. I'm buying a machine gun for Bruce's Jeep. My weapon of choice is the M1919.
That's your target. Have a bit of fun, see what you can knock down.
The design of this thing dates back nearly 100 years. It spits out 500 rounds a minute. At twice the speed of sound, it's lethal at over 1.5 kilometres. Being under fire from this thing must be terrifying. At close range, these bullets go straight through the target. destroying anything in between. Perfect for immobilising enemy vehicles or for turning a caravan into a colander. Mate, I tell you, that is for every time I've been stuck behind one of them things on a Sunday. No, mate, day well spent, mega.
Right, here, Gary, come and have a look at this. You're going to love what we've got in here. Back in the UK, I'm giving Gary Hurley the Royal Tour. Gary isn't just a collector. He stages reenactments of World War II battles, and he wants things that go bang, but they must be authentic. We got mortars, we got packs, we got Brens, we got flamethrowers, we got everything from the small mortars, the 5 centimetres, up to the 8, the 12s. I don't know whether you're looking for something small, medium or large, or what your sort of price range is, but,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure whatever you've got in your pocket to spend,
Yeah.
I can relieve you of.
Yeah.
Right. So have a look round and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I've been buying and selling authentic, historic military kit for over 30 years, and I've got warehouses full of the stuff.
That's the Flammenwerfer there, Bruce, yeah?
Yeah. The only thing that's missing off that one is the straps.
Right.
But the whole thing's there. The Flammenwerfer 41 is a World War II flamethrower. It mixes petrol and tar to create lethal bursts of fire stretching 25 metres.
Every time you pull that, that would release a 1-second jet.
Right.
Yeah, of flame out of the tank.
Right,
Then you'd have about 5 1-second bursts, and that'd be empty.
Could you actually get this up and running, do you reckon, Bruce?
I would think that the cylinder in that good condition that you probably could. Who you'd go to get it done, and obviously what licences and that you got, I ain't sure about. To own working weapons, you have to have a special licence. But this is so out of the ordinary, I don't have a licence to cover it. So we can't get the thing working, but I am allowed to sell it as is.
How much do you reckon that would be then, Bruce?
In all fairness, I've got to tell you, it's expensive. It's going to be about £9 grand, mate, because it's as rare, just a very rare thing, mate. Interested? Something you're interested in?
I would be, yeah, but I'm probably looking for something a little bit bigger, to be honest with you.
We can do bigger, don't worry about that. We can do bigger. This German Granitwerfer mortar might appeal to Gary. This thing was used to deadly effect in the war, but what makes this one so rare is the backpack. These are backpacks for the 8 centimetre mortar. Where this strips down to 3 pieces, that's right, 3 people would have these on, wouldn't they?
You'd have 3 people coming.
When do you ever see that? You never see that kit.
I've never seen...
The only thing is, mate, I've got to tell you, they ain't cheap.
Yeah.
They're not cheap, but if you wanted to do a mortar display kit or a mortar display team, you know, for like £8.5 grand, I'd chuck in the sight, cut the boxes around with the complete set.
What about the backpacks on their own, Bruce?
This is a complete set, which makes it more valuable. I'd rather not break it up. But either way, this backpack is rare and it won't come cheap. You know, I've only ever had one set of those. You know, you're going to be talking about £3.5 grand. A lot of money, but, you know, you just don't find them. And I don't really want to split it up. So if I was going to split it up, it's got to be that sort of money.
Right. Food for thought, Bruce.
What was that? You mean you bought it? What are you thinking about it?
Let's have another look round at some of your other stuff, eh?
OK, all right,
Bruce,
OK. But
don't
listen,
mind.
think that's rare, believe me. You ain't going to see another set like that. I sense Gary wants a bit more bang for his buck. Something that really says World War II. Now, this could be more in line with what you're looking at then. Is that the sort of thing you're after?
Oh, yeah.
How's that? That's more in line with what you can keep in your garage as well, yeah?
Yeah.
This is a Pak 40, one of the most effective anti-tank weapons of the German arsenal. This one fired 75mm shells. Even from 2 kilometres away, it would go through most tank armour like a hot knife through butter. I picked this one up in Finland a few years ago for £7 grand. You know, if this fits your remit for what you want for the group, we can do something on this, mate. Right. You know, have a look round, kick the tyres. You know, one careful owner had a little moustache. So,
See, look, all the sighting gears there, everything. You've got the push button firing button there. You've also got the remote cooled operated one there. Yeah, you've got a safety catch.
Now, you can see the condition of it, and in all fairness, all right, it's a bit grubby, but cleaned up, this would be like mint.
You get a crew of blokes working this properly as it should have been done, yeah, and it will look the nuts, mate.
Now I've got him where I want him. Something that floats your boat?
It is indeed, mate, yeah.
Yeah?
So, how much do you reckon?
Well, obviously you can see it's in good nick, it's complete, right? The cheapest I could let this go for would be 12.5 grand. Cheap, mate?
Yeah.
It's cheap, you ain't going to find one that sort of money.
It's looking more like, for me, for about 7.5.
You could have it for 7.5, but I'll have to take the barrel off. The best I could do, the absolute best I could do, would be 9 grand.
9 grand.
That's a good price, mate.
Right.
You got a deal. I think you've had the deal of the century, mate, to be quite honest with you.
I'm assuming it's working.
Working? This isn't a wristwatch, it's an anti-tank gun. Even to fire blanks, we're not just talking engineering. This needs serious paperwork.
OK, what if I give you 10?
Yeah?
And you get it working for me?
10 grand?
Yeah.
If we can reactivate it and get it firing, yeah? With the correct licences for somebody that can put it on a ticket and all that. Can we do that, Ian?
It's made out of metal, mate. There's nothing we can't do with it.
You've got a deal, mate. 10 grand, we'll get this reactivated and working for you.
Lovely.
Job done.